What's goody to any and everybody who may be listening? Ooh, now we just got a very important, and I'm going to say this is probably the most important piece of the puzzle. Okay, I'm going to be talking about my grandpa. Okay, I loved my grandfather absolutely, and he was one of the first members of that clan who passed away back in the year of 1995. I do believe it was 95. It could have been 96 though, but I do recall the emotion. It had high emotional impact on me, even though I did consider my grandfather as mean because he was a little mean. And he invoked a fear in me that nobody else ever invoked since then. And I do recall my great grandmother, Dozier, having to hit him upside the head with a motherfucking cast iron pan. When we were living in Walnut Terrace, a housing project in the city of Raleigh, North Carolina. Okay, but as the years progressed, I believe our relationship got better. Myself and my grandfather, even though he wasn't an alcoholic, but he did drink every day. But I wouldn't really consider him an alcoholic. He went out. He went to work. He worked hard. He had his own little work van. But when he came home, he did drink his drink. He sat at that table and drank his drink and talked his shit. I gotta admit that did scare me a little bit though. Like I said, he invoked a fear in me that no other could ever invoke. Okay. That was energy harvesting too. Although I feel like he didn't really know that he was doing what he was doing. Okay, he didn't know he was doing that, but it was massive energy harvesting taking place at that time with him drinking that liquor, and me remembering my grandmother having to hit him upside the head with a can, and not wanting it to happen again. Okay. Now there was something that happened very weird, and this was something that happened like overnight. This happened overnight, like my consciousness. Something happened within my consciousness where I developed a sexual attraction towards my great grandfather. And this is not for everybody. This is a disclaimer. I'm putting a disclaimer here because this is I'm telling you some weird shit that happened within this clan, and this ritual abuse that they employed upon me as a divine being, okay, in an effort to bind up my energy with those black orbs, which kept my light sparks frozen into place, and which enabled them to suck the energy from my light sparks and to use that energy to do certain things like make money or do whatever they was doing. In the instance of Lizzie, which is the eldest daughter, she made that makeshift church, and then she went on to actually build a church, and all of that. And them folks was going up down there listening to her preach and all that, and anoint them and and speak them demonic tongues and things of this nature. Okay. So, this attraction, I gotta talk about it right quick. It was something about me seeing my great grandfather, the hair on his chest. It was something about the hair on his chest that I was attracted to, because his shirt would be unbuttoned a little bit, and I would see it. But the thing is that I was 5. I was about 4 or 5 years old when this attraction developed. a sick sexual attraction. We're going to be getting into how that attraction developed because I just got that piece back. Now, I told you that all of these individuals within this clan, most of these individuals in this clan were they were Masonic. They were in this Masonic Brotherhood that stems all the way back from upwards in the body when we were in the upper chakras, when they made their first appearance in the throat chakra when I was Lilith. Okay. Now we fast forward all the way down into the root chakra where I am now in a boy body. And this boy body was much needed. So they thought that this was going to be my ruins, that I was in a boy body. Okay, and they thought that I would not be able to regenerate, but bitch, this was a motherfucking set up. Okay, period. Everything that they were doing as it was happening, I was sort of disassociated. So I was outside of my body at the same time watching them. Like my higher self was watching everything that they were doing. Now, a lot of this, the memory had been swiped. There was hypnosis employed, trance. They had the CIA involved, these government agencies involved, and everything of this nature. And because governments, this was a new thing. A government with these senators and presidents and shit like that did not exist upwards in the body because it was only me. And you could say Orumula, but that bitch, girl, at this point, Orumula is nothing to me. I'm so happy that he is out of my hair completely and totally. But this attraction developed due to, look, it's the molestations for me. Now, I wound up contracting HIV at the age of 27, even though I was not particularly promiscuous. Maybe in my late teens and early 20s, I could have been a little, but not still. I wasn't really that promiscuous. It was, I didn't have that sexual thing in me. Like, it wasn't as strong like that. I was more concerned with the emotional aspects of my relationships when I would deal with the men. It was more so the emotions that I was focused on. But anyway, this HIV. So the only way I was able to even get all of these pieces was to do that shadow work, was to go in my body, to clear out those blockages and all of that trauma that was in my body, and tracing it back to that initial molestation by Larry Anderson, special needs, developmental disability, at the age of 3, in that room where Sharita burst up in the room. Now that was supposed to be the first humiliation ritual of this lifetime. She burst up in that room while I was being molested and blamed me for the molestation. A 3-year-old. And then commits to, for the rest of that, trying to beat that gay out of me. But lo and behold, that's not where the molestations stop. Okay, because I just talked about Prince. Let's talk about Prince again. Let's talk about Prince Dozier again. Now, this is the one whom my introduction to porn came through those tapes that he left around the house of my grandmother, Dorothy. So also, this individual molested me as well. Like, this is new information, even though a part of me remembered anyway. It doesn't just stop at Prince molested me. Now, I talked about this person before. Let's talk about him again. Let's go ahead and get into Mac. Now, we call him Uncle Mac. Okay, John Dozier. His name was John Dozier. He was named after my great grandfather, John Dozier. So they called him John Dozier Jr. or John Dozier II. Either way, they called him Mac. He was horrible looking. He looked like Seymour Butts or Uncle Burns from The Simpsons. That motherfucking hairline was receding all the way back into oblivion. Okay, he was a skinny, scrawny, tall, old man at the time when he participated in this ritual, molestation, sexual abuse alongside Prince. And there was a couple of other individuals as well there. They ain't became clear yet, but they will be becoming clear. It will be becoming clear who these other individuals were participating in this molestation alongside Mac and Prince. Again, this was Masonic, having everything to do with that Brotherhood. Okay? So I want to talk about some of Mac's children and his grandchildren. Now, his children, one of them named Ryan, I forgot the other one's name, but one of them would eventually go on to become the pastor of the church where Lizzie built that church in Garner after the makeshift church. After she was finished with the makeshift church, she built that church. After she didn't preach no more, he took over. It was Ryan and somebody else. Ryan and I forgot his name. But I want to get on the grandson of Mac. I forgot his name. That old grandson of Mac, he wore glasses. He was a nerd, lame as fuck. What was Mac doing to that grandson of his is my question, because every time I would see this boy, I would be like, what's going on inside of his body? There was a lot of trauma going on in that body. Now, this trauma, I can see it in everybody. Like, everybody has different degrees of trauma in their body, and I can pinpoint where it's at. I can see it. The way you move your body, I can see the stiff points in your body. I can see that trauma. Now, this individual had all sorts of trauma in his body, and I was just wondering, like, now, see, at that time, I didn't remember that this molestation had took place. This ritual molestation had taken place. But whenever I would see that boy, I would be like, what the hell is wrong with this boy? He was quiet, sort of reserved. He stayed to himself. I wish I could remember his name, but you know who I'm talking about. Like, if you listening, you don't, but Spirit know who I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking to anyway. I'm talking to Spirit. Okay. So, look, let's go ahead. Before I do these declarations, this is how that attraction towards my great grandfather developed. It was like an overnight thing. It happened overnight, just like that. Like the night before, it wasn't like that. Then the following night, there it was, that attraction for my own grandpa at the age of 5. Okay. Let's go ahead and do these declarations, okay? I decree and declare any of my light sparks and soul fragments that were caught up in that molestation, that between all of those men with me up in that room, be removed, be released, be freed, released, and removed, and brought back home to the mother, the father, and the child, which is none other than myself, in one body. I decree and declare any of my light sparks and soul fragments that were caught up in the energy of that molestation be bought, be freed, released, and removed and brought back to the mother, the father, and the child. I decree and declare that any of my light sparks and soul fragments that are up in the body of either Mac, John Dozier Jr., or this Prince individual, Prince Dozier, be freed, released, removed, and brought back home to its source, the original owner of it, of them, the mother, the father, and the child. Okay? I decree and declare the individuals left, whom I have not named yet, but which will become clear, any of my light sparks caught up in them, freed, released, and removed, and brought back home to the mother, the father, and the child. Now this is going to be becoming clearer. I'm going to be getting some of the other individuals who was involved. Now I suspect one more, but I'm not going to say that until I know for sure. I suspect there is a couple of more, but I know that there's like one more who I know, who I'm feeling that, oh, that was this individual who did that. We have Mac, we have Prince, and then there's one more, I think, but there was at least, I think, two more. Okay? It don't matter though, because each and every one of my light sparks and soul fragments are coming up out of that ritual and being returned home to the source, me. Okay. Thank you. Bye-bye.